Yep. Yep. Yeah, buddy? Yes, hi, Terry. Okay. Yes, Terry, can I help you? It's just the paint setup, Terry. There's absolutely nothing to see up here. Here, let me get that out of your eye. There. Alright. Okay, so last time we were here, we painted up these people. As you can see, a lot of brown went on to them because they're steel wools and their paint scheme is brown and steel. We need to add the steel and the cockpits, but we're not doing that today. Today, we're going to go ahead and paint this guy up. And we're going to paint them in trans pride colors. So we need to add the pink and the blue. And then we can get started. Some Apothecary white here. It looks kind of gray, but I understand it goes on pretty thin. So, should be okay. Alrighty, so let's see. Alright, so of course, we always start with getting paint brushes. I think what I'm going to do first is, just so I keep track of where everything goes. Sorry, my phone doesn't have a silent function, so I apologize for that. You're going to hear stuff. Alright, so get a little bit of pink on the wet palette. Maybe a little bit more because that went on kind of thin. Alright. Beautiful. Beautiful. Alright. First, what we're gonna want to do, mark where we want the pink to go. You okay back there? Alright. Let's see. Looks like we should only be on a small delay, so. Sorry, Terry is being dramatic in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. So we want pink to go there and there. And I don't like that angle. Alright, and I think here the belly should be okay with white. We might go with pink here, here on the belly. And everything outside that's going to be blue. And then we want to come back in and do the gun barrels as steel with the launchers. That sounds like a plan, doesn't it? Alright, so... Sorry, let me turn down the music just in case that's a little loud. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, buddy? Yeah? As you can probably hear, Terry is giving lots of commentary, which is all the more amazing because right now he's down by my feet where he absolutely can see none of this. Sorry about that. There was suddenly a loud truck outside, and I cannot control the noise other people make, unfortunately. Oh, hey, Zerth. Welcome to the show. Alright, so let's see. We wanted to go back over here where it's kind of coming off thin. Gotta get these front parts. Yeah, buddy? Tell me I'm doing a good job or a bad job. There we go. I feel like some of these places I'm going to be better off letting the wash color in. So the colors I'm using were ones that were suggested. So for the pink, I got Emperor's Children. The white was just the Army Painter Matte White Priming Spray. You also see it back here on these other models. Basically, I just figure it's good to go from light to dark. That's easier with the paint. So if you prime everything white, you can't go wrong. And then for the blue, the plan is to use Temple Guard Blue. Let's see. Then there are some washes or shades and contrasts I'm going to use as washes. For the pink, we got Voluptuous Pink and Drakenhof Nightshade for the blue. And then Apothecary White for the white. I feel like for the metal, if I can find where I put it, I have some Nuln Oil for the wash, and I have Iron Hand Steel for the paint. The metal is just going to go on to the gun barrels, which are here, here, and here. Oh boy. Sorry about that. I forgot I had an alarm set. So like I said, I have the gun barrels here, here, and here. Then we also have this little LRM missile launcher. So that should be good for the metal. Although I think I might color up these ejection ports and these heat vents. And that should be good for the metal. Yeah. So let's see. Sorry, just trying to gently go over some places. Ooh, oh. Might need a white for where my pink is leaking onto the white. Thankfully, I got a Corax white over here. I just wasn't thinking I might have to use it. I've seen some videos of Apothecary White. It, like, in the case of something like the Stormtroopers, it's really good for making the white just pop. It kind of makes it really, clean and chill. But if you use it on its own, it kind of comes out either too white or, I don't know how to phrase it, cold, if that makes sense. Like a lot of videos I've seen people talking about they try and use it over a bit more of a tan color, like Xandri Dust, and that way it comes out as kind of like a bleached bone white. Otherwise, it's really, you're just putting a very thin gray over the white and letting it kind of like provides a center highlight, I think is how they talk about it for the white, where, you know, it pulls to the side, but it makes the white in the center pull out. Which should be great for this because, you know, it has all these lines and everything. Come on. Get the last of that pink off. Now this brush is like one of Games Workshop's newer, they call them STC, the artificial hair brushes they came out with like a few months ago. I'm not sure I like how they absorb color. Like, I haven't even put that in pink again yet, and for that I put in brown, and it started white. Like, started this kind of white. I haven't used it that much either. Well, we'll find out how that works out. There we go. Let's see. I had left off on the back. Dun, dun, dun. Like I said, we're leaving that grill to be painted in later with iron and steel. Oh no, I wanted that to be blue. Oh well, the blue should be okay going over it. That hopefully won't be too much of a problem. As Bob Ross says, there are no mistakes, only trees. I'm sure that counts as a tree. Just getting pink everywhere. Alrighty. So that injection port's going to be metal. I'm going to try and trust the wash. color in around where the gun barrel starts. Color in the, when I say wash, I mean Nuln oil, not voluptuous pink. Alrighty. I don't know, maybe I can do those flaps pink and won't be too bad. Boy, I have a hard time seeing all those little details. Alright, there we go. Just gonna skip over here. I need to break out a bit more pink. I thought I had more. There we go. Very careful. What's that, hair? I don't know where you are, but you're not part of the plan, and so you're gone. Really am going to have to break out a white. Boy, I thought it was at least somewhat better than this. Oh, there's the pink again. Get a little bit more. Ah, well, the blue should cover that up just fine. Using layers, not contrast yet, so. Alright, and I think it is time to get a little bit more pink out of the pot. There we go. Brush off the excess. It looks like it came on a little thin and wet, but we will try and do our best. What has everyone been up to? Anybody been watching shows, TV, playing video games? Here they corrupt your mind. I wouldn't know. I never had much of one. And we want to miss the injection ports. feel like painting these fins purple. I don't know why, I just do. Not that we have purple here at the table, I don't think. Paint. There we go. Ooh, Elden Ring. I remember getting really into that and then dropping off. I got past, what was it, the guy at the gate, but I never got past the guy who gives you the first mark. I've just been running around with that giant guts sword. Ooh, Chaos Knight. Those look really fun. I don't think I'll ever be able to afford one, though. That's really cool. I remember when Knights first came out, they were like, oh yes, we have these Imperial Knights who basically have a whole army. And then it was like, and then we have a Chaos Knight who you're supposed to use an entire codex on. It's like, what? But yeah, I really love how the models look and everything. They're like miniature Forge World Titans, which I mean, I guess is the point. But they're more obtainable, which makes them more fun, of course. Boy, I really can't see what I'm painting right now. But I hope it works out. They have a psychic one now? Oh, that just sounds horrifying. But by horrifying, I mean it sounds awesome. I just really hate the idea of running into one. Is it like the Mark of Zinch one, or is it just like a general psychic Chaos Knight? Oh, yeah. Night Lords and psychic shenanigans always sound the best. The Night Abominant. Yeah, Night Lords were the army I always wanted to build, and I never got around to it. And of course, now all the minis I own are Primaris. Yeah, that makes sense. Korn only likes his psychers and witches in the books, not on the tabletop. Although I did get that Night Lord's Contemptor and some Night Raptors. I guess I could always actually still make the army. Not sure. I remember reading articles from 3rd edition where, like, you know, before 3.5, where the Night Lords were Khorne marked Chaos Marines. No, they're the backup Khorne Legion to the World Eaters. Oh, ADB's books are amazing. I love them. I have both of the collector's Black Legion books, which are great. I'm sad he will probably never write the 3rd one, but I fully understand why he will probably never write it. But yeah, no, his Night Lord books are amazingly epic, and I think it's John French who took up writing Night Lords and the Horus Heresy, and they're good, but they'll never be the same. Yeah, Skandar was great, especially me. Being a nerd and having watched Fate and learning that Iskandar is like, the Persian translation of Alexander, and that was just great because it's like, oh, hey, it's a character named after me. Well, character with the same name as me, not named after me. Or at least the same name I had. Let me put it that way. Alright, there we go. There we go. Let's go back over this pink. Alright, let's see. Next part I wanted to paint pink was this little pelvis area. Let's go ahead and get that started. But yeah, I felt like the Black Legion books were a great way on seeing the inner minds of chaos without it being a, oh, we have to fire guns kind of story that Warhammer usually is. Bolter porn, I think, is how the fandom usually calls it. Don't get me wrong, the bolter porn's not bad, just, sometimes it's nice to see characters discussing how the universe works. Oculus Imperia. Great video as a conversation between his character and Kaon. I might have to see that sometime. It's been hard for me to, like, I stopped paying attention to 40K stuff a couple years ago, and it's been hard for me to, filter back in. One of the ways I tried to filter back in was when it came out, I wasted the money on an Indominus set and then just never did anything with it. And the reason I went with Indominus instead of, say, Chaos was because at the time the new Chaos stuff wasn't out, and I wasn't really sure how I wanted to go with it. Yeah, I think everyone feels that way about Warhammer at one point or another. Just the buying in and keeping up is very expensive. Then, of course, there's the fandom. That's always stressful. And honestly, it feels like Games Workshop likes to stress. Yeah. Meanwhile, Battletech, I have no idea how to play the game, but if you want to get started, it's like, oh, $30 a box. Just find the box that has the most stuff you like and go with it. There will be plenty of people who will go online and show you how to actually play it. And somehow I've ran out of pink. Really? I didn't realize I used that much. Just gonna get under here. Oh no, that pink is coming in too thin. Alright, we are dipping into the paint pot for the third time. I don't know how often other people dip into a paint pot, I'm sorry. I'm still new. And of course the water is making it thin. Yeah, a lot of 40K people have been finding it easy to get in, like, Yeah, especially just price wise. But like for me, a couple of people I knew from a Shadowrun community, Cliff Johnson and Russell Zimmerman, who are both actually writers for some of the Shadowrun books. They both got me into Battletech because at the time I was just talking nonstop about Lancer, RPG, and Gundam. And it's just like, okay, yeah, I'll check this out. So I played the game and it was like, I love it. But then I kept looking at the novels and the tabletop, and I'm like, figured out pretty couldn't figure out if the novels had like a timeline or nothing, and I guess I didn't put enough into learning. But just kind of kept looking at stuff and was looking at stuff for the video game. And then Rusty was like, hey, you should start reading the novels. Okay, where should I start? The Warrior ones are always a good start. Boom. Just within a year, I read like over 60 novels. They're there. They're, for the most part, they're pretty decent. They got some problems with that they were written as products of their time. So, unfortunately, because they use the real world as an anchor, it means that a lot of real world stuff is in there in terms of how certain factions get represented. But overall, they're mostly good. And, but yeah, I just got into there. And then, of course, I found out, oh, hey, they had the Kickstarter. Unfortunately, I was too late for that, but it's just in time for, the boxes to start coming out. So I started just buying up boxes and buying up boxes. Trade one spending problem for another. But I got more bang for my buck because everything's cheaper. But yeah, I found a lot of 40K people transition to Battletech because it's cheaper. It's still relatable in the same way of being a sci-fi war game with some anchors in the real world. Although 40K, those anchors are usually abstract. Although if you listen to Dan Abnett, supposedly they are very some of them are very parody based. I say if you listen to Dan Abnett because there's been a lot of authors and editors who work for Black Library who are like, no, of course not. We'd never totally make an orc based on Margaret Thatcher. Honestly, I'm not sure how comfortable that is. But yeah, then Games Workshop decided to go to its newest cease and desist on how creators are able to create animated media, which has been kind of one of the things that Games Workshop never touched. Usually they used to restrict it to just people making knockoff miniatures, and even then it was, okay, how obvious are you about it? But they really decided to go old school, and that's when everyone kind of jumped ship, and so many people landed in Battletech. Because, well, Catalyst Games Workshop kind of likes its fan communities. Gaskill Magurakas, yeah. I think one of the things that killed me was I've been going and reading Warhammer 40k lore and novels since 2004, I think, when I placed the timeline because of when the fourth edition Chaos Space Marines Codex was brand new, which I think was about 2004. Although, funnily enough, my entry point was finding Warrior Brood by he hasn't written them for them for a while. The novel is Warrior's Brood, and it deals with the Mantis Warriors and Death Watch. And it's a really old novel. I found it in a Walmart. That was how I got introduced to 40k. Walmart. Let's see. Do I want to try and paint this cockpit now? I think I'll leave this one. Yeah, I actually liked Warrior Brood and its sequel Warrior Coven. Although I understand now that they're a bit pretty loosey-goosey with certain canon things, but, you know, who cares? So a lot of people didn't like them, but I just remember loving them. I remember I wanted my first army to be Mantis Warriors when I found out they had minis. I think what we'll do is paint here. There we go, just gotta be very careful. It's not a cockpit part, but I think I want to keep it white. Was planning on keeping most of this belly white. But yeah, so, you know, for Battletech, I got the PC game and, you know, early, oh crap. I got it in early 2020, so, you know, just before the pandemic started. And it was a gift from Cliff Johnson. And I played the hell out of it. I just like, as soon as the creator, the character generator was like, hey, you can have they, them, non-binary pronouns for your character. And at the time, I was kind of new to the idea of non-binary in general. I just fell in love with it because I already knew. I haven't played a lot of games, but I've watched streamers, so I've seen a lot of games. I've seen a lot of character generators, and I just never seen the option for they, them pronouns before. So I just like jumped into it, went full balls to the wall, and then loved the storyline and everything. But then for getting into everything else, like the novels and even the idea of the game, I kind of got scared because there's a lot of it. And it didn't really seem as obvious as, like, say, if you jump into Warhammer, oh, Warhammer has a core rule book that is very explicitly labeled. And also, like, you know, then it's got army codexes. And then the books are so loose that you can kind of just, like, jump with whatever and be A-okay. Like, I think the only series that you would have to make sure you start at the beginning is Gaunt's Ghosts, and that's because it's just so big and so chronological. But even then, I'm not sure I'd ever tell someone they have to. Like, I'm pretty sure, unless something's changed with the last few novels, you can pretty much jump in whenever you want with Gaunt's Ghosts. Hell, I remember the Ravner series. I jumped in with the second book, read the third book, never read the first Ravner book, and then read the first Eisenhorn book and have never regretted that choice. But when I tried looking at Battletech, it always seemed, kind of a bit more daunting because it's like, oh, there are technically kind of 3 core rule books, but none of them are labeled as being a core rule book except for the Alpha Strike book. But, even then, that's like a different version of Alpha Strike. That's a different version of playing the game that's meant, more for armies rather than, lances. It kind of gets weird because everything's labeled like it's in universe rather than as kind of like how other games would label it. So it always seemed kind of confusing and daunting, and then I didn't know where to go into the books because it kind of seemed like they were chronological, but I had no idea where to jump in chronology wise, and I made the mistake that the first book I read was the Operation Case White anthology, which is actually a book that was published after 2015 as a collection of short stories involving what Comstar tried to take Terra from the Word of Blake. So, you kind of go from something that is set just before the Fourth Succession War is very simple as far as story, like, oh, this part of the Milky Way is split into warring factions of humanity. Yeah, you jump from that to, there's something called clans that are vaguely referenced, and you're in the middle of some sort of weird religious war. Oh, by the way, there's battle armor, which you've never heard of if you're coming straight from the game. It's like, I don't know what's happening. I'm just going to stick to the stories about these farmers in Texas helping people and giant robots fight a religious authority, I guess. And then after that, Rusty directed me to, hey, maybe you should start with the books that started it all, the Warrior Trilogy. I remember, though, and like from there, I just started, I found a publication list, which is also coincidentally the chronological list of the novels, because while the novels aren't necessarily in their own timeline, they still generally follow the Battletech timeline, which, makes it okay. The only place it seems like they really try to go back was 2015 when they started up printing the novels again for the first time since the Dark Ages. They kind of had some novels that were like, bridging the gap. And of course, now you have like, the novels that deal with the founding of the clans too. So I guess they're still going back. But, for the most part, everything's gone back to following the game timeline. So like the newest stuff is following the Ill Clan era, which I'm really enjoying a lot of. It just seems like the Ill Clan era is, hey, do you know, yeah, my words have left my mouth. Do you know, Battletech in general? Well, hey, we're kind of shaking things up so you can not be familiar and still do your own thing. It's kind of like it's resetting back to the original. It's just there's a more flavorful background for you to pick and choose your stories that you want to tell. Because now you got clans that are dicks. Now you got clans that are nice. You have intersphere powers that are trying to be nice. You have intersphere powers that have never changed for good or worse. The Republic just fell apart, so that's like a huge splinter for, what kind of people do you want to make? Well, now you can. Oh, that's not good. I'm already empty on my drink. All right, so let's see. But, I'm really enjoying the story potential. And I don't know, I kind of fell in love with it as an idea of what you could work with, but I kind of liked Clan Smoke Jaguar as a concept, although reading their lore, they are not the best faction. They definitely deserve to die as a faction. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's beautiful for terms of do you want to tell a story? Well, now you can tell a story however you want. But they definitely deserve to the Smoke Jaguars definitely deserve to be shut down as a faction. But then during the Republic era, they become this super awesome spec ops squad called the Fidelis. And so I'm just kind of looking at him. I'm like, oh, hey, I have a cat who kind of looks like a Smoke Jaguar. He definitely likes to, leave scratches on people like he's a Smoke Jaguar. I'm from Florida, so I've always been familiar with the idea of the Jaguars as a team name, although never, ever, ever bet on the Jaguars winning. Ever. I see where I screwed up. Oh, well. We'll just leave that a little mismatched. But just I don't know, like it's kind of like playing Night Lords. You as a person you would never want to be a Night Lord, but as an army, it's a some aspects of them seem cool, especially if you're kind of like watching movies like Predator and Alien, and you like rooting for the Predator and the Alien. So it kind of ended up like that. But now you got them in the Oak Clan, they're back, but there's so much potential for them to be better than they were. You know? Like, it's basically been laid out that at least for one or two generations, they had to be as open as they could be because most of their population was going to end up being free births. Which, for anyone who doesn't know Battletech, the clans normally breed their children in iron wombs, so they're kind of like the Jem'Hadar from, Star Trek, but instead of straight up clones, it's kind of an in vitro kind of thing that then everyone has to communally raise. But it's mostly done with the purpose of raising soldiers, so, Jem'Hadar feel like a pretty good touchstone. But you know, then they call those people true births, and then they call anyone who's born, the conventional method, free births. And normally in clan society, free births are looked down upon because it's clan society had to be very resource conscious. So, running around and having kids was viewed as a bad thing. They're very pro conception. Yeah, I want to see what they do with it because so far they haven't done a whole lot. And that's why I kind of want to see what happens with the Smoke Jaguars. Because in order to survive to the point where they could get reborn, they had to drop a lot of their bigotry. And, now they're a part of the new Star League because they hitched their wagon to Alaric Ward, the new, what's the term? President of the Star League? Ruler of the Star League? Person in charge of the Star League? That's a good way to describe it. They've really hitched their wagon to him, and, now for better or worse, they're kind of stuck with him and whatever happens to him. So I kind of want to see how they continue the rebuilding process. I want to see how they influence the Star League, or if it influences them. Oh wow, this blue is going on a lot thicker. First Lord, gotcha. And this kind of looks like Trix yogurt. And you know, I really want to see where everything goes. There's a part of me that wants to write where it goes. Yeah, he is the Ilkhan. That is true, Setsu. By the way, welcome to the stream. Oh, and thank you for the follow. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. But you know, everything seems like it's really exciting and it's going to change things up, and I can't wait to see how. I haven't read the source book Tamar Rising yet, but I have read Empire Alone, and it's already got some Jade Falcons as the Black Watch. I don't know what that means. It is... Black Watch was like a Northwind Highlanders thing, right? Yeah, that's kind of where I got to the point too, Setsu. Just go where the Battletech is. I am reading both currently, yeah. I've been trying to read Tamar Rising without getting into it. It seems like every time I try, life is like, oh, here's this thing you should be more worried about. Like, the first time I tried reading it was when it was new, and my job was like, oh, you are in running for a promotion. You have to start interacting with the customers more because that's the only place we feel you're failing. Long story short, the reason I didn't interact with the customers was because they were bigots. The second time I tried reading it, my promotion didn't go through because one of the customers was harassing me at work. It just got bad. So Elizabeth Hazen was first Clan Jade Falcon. She was one of the Royal Black Watch commanders. Oh, okay. So, like, you know, the Jade Falcons then are joining up with the Northwind Highlanders, because I think they joined Alaric Ward as the Black Watch, right? Because I know the Jade Falcons, when they lost Terra, at least the ones at Terra ended up getting not absorbed by Clan Wolf, but deputized, I guess would be the best way to put it. Yeah, people are terrible. You know, just leave it at every time I've tried reading Tamar Rising, a lot of life has come into it. Okay, so they joined up with the Northwind Highlanders. That's cool. That's going to make it interesting, because now you got the Smoke Jaguars who are... Oh, so has Jade Falcon split up then? With, you know, the ones part of the Star League and then the ones who aren't? That's going to be interesting. I'm okay with spoilers, you know. Well, I'm okay with small ones. I don't mind spoilers personally, but I know people are spoiler conscious. So, you know, if you just want to answer the questions directly, that's all right. Or if you feel comfortable answering the questions directly. Yeah, that can get awesome, but like, on the one hand, the new Star Leagues is shaping up. It's got the Wolves, it's got all the troops and material from Terra, at least the Republic troops who haven't run away. I know they got the Northwind Highlanders. They got the Smoke Jaguars, who until recently were like the best Black Ops unit ever in universe. you know, they got the survivors of Jade Falcon at Terra, which is going to be hecking awesome. Oh no, you're all right. You didn't do anything wrong. I asked you questions, your answer. That's all right. I was just saying, like, you know, if I'm answering questions and you want to, or if I'm asking questions, you want to answer them, that's all right. Don't feel bad about it. Don't worry about it. I know some people are kind of like, ugh, spoilers. I'm pretty much the only person talking right now. I'm okay with it. I was rambling. Where did I ramble to? Yeah, I mean, so far the only bad thing that seems like the new Star League has going for it is they decide to start off with immediately pissing off the Wolf Dragoons. Not exactly the smartest choice to ever make for anyone. I mean, I do see some other immediate problems that are kind of spoiler territory, so I'm going to try to not describe what they are. But, you know, Alaric Ward has made some very questionable choices regarding his new leadership role. But at the same time, I'm still kind of excited to see what happens with all of it. Unlike the Joker, I actually am an agent of chaos. I like when chaos happens. Albeit within a completely fictional universe where it doesn't actually ruin lives. Get in there. There we go. There we go. Oop. Stay away from the gun barrel. Yes, because they got that weird little, maybe potentially a civil war brewing, because some of them are like, oh, hey, Ilcon, we should totally run into it. And then some of them are like, how about we don't? It's not like they ever did anything for us, and also we've had this nice cultural renaissance where we've kind of moved beyond the need to be all-conquering douche nozzles. You know, and I think it was the Shrapnel series that kind of described what's been going on with the Scorpion Empire, Clan Goliath Scorpion. It's never one of the major famous clans, but they've kind of been working in the shadows. And they made this whole, like, egalitarian empire out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, granted, you know, empire, so everyone who's a part of it was conquered. They weren't, you know, they didn't choose to join. But, you know, then it's like, oh, hey, we know we conquered you, but we also want to make life better. And they are. Which is, you know, better story than what you usually get in the Inner Sphere. Looking at you, Federated Sons, and throwing away the lives of people at New Certus because, you know, they had a bad guy for a noble. Like, that was their choice. There we go. I like how this blue is going on compared to everything else. There we go. There we go. I think it might be time to dip into the pot again for some blue. Let's see what we can finish up. We got the top here. This little spot here and there. Granted, I know because I'm going to be using contrast paints as a wash, it should. Oh no, that came in thin. Contrast paint should fill in all these gaps nicely. But, you know, can help it along, we can help it along. But, alright, there we go. Just need to get some fresh paint from the jar. But yeah, so like I'm really excited for where the universe is going. I like a lot of where the universe has been. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of when the universe was completely enthralled by its real world anchors. That's because, well, any student of American history can tell you America's been a bit messed up for a while in terms of certain real world views and opinions. You know, it's nice to see the universe getting over that. And by the way, if anyone listening has not yet read the Shrapnel magazine issues, they really should. They're fantastic. The stories are fantastic. The in-universe lore bits are fantastic. I love how the ones about weapons are always written by somebody, by a teacher who's, you know, giving a lecture to his class, because, you know, he's always making jokes. You know, I'm just really loving all of Shrapnel. And it's also like a great platform for new writers to jump in, and I feel like it's working excellently on that point. Alright, so let's go back over this. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yes, beautiful. Beautiful. Gotta stand this in there to get at that spot. There we go. I'm going for a very basic color scheme, which is, you know, trans pride flag, but, you know, kind of enjoying it. Thought about going wild and having like a blue eagle or something over here on the front. Kind of a ripoff of the purple eagle of House Merrick. But, you know, maybe later when I've actually painted more than 4 minis. Might actually be able to do this whole mini today. We're only an hour in. I feel like we've done pretty good. Yes, the last Shrapnel I read is 7. I do have 8 and 9 on hand to read when I get to them. But I actually started going back and rereading bits of them. Like, I reread the Fox Patrol stories that are in Shrapnels 3 and 5. The plan is to reread the Fox Patrol story in Shrapnel 7. I reread Faith McCloskey's story in Shrapnel 4. I just really like that one because it honestly gives me like, it's a really dark and traumatic story, but I really like the nostalgic sense it gave me. Is kind of like, you know, watching one of the more serious episodes of MASH, where, you know, it is just kind of like a really, it's a sad moment, but it really makes you feel like you're with the characters, you know. I'm not trying to say it's a rip off of MASH. It's very much not, but it stands on its own 2 feet. But you know, it sometimes when you connect to a story, you know, you talk about it and what made you connect to it. It's just really good story. And there. I guess gotta get some glue in there. I think we can call this one done. And on one hand, that blue went on thicker. On other parts, it really went on loose, didn't it? There we go. It sounds like it might start raining outside, and I am right next to a window. So if that gets too loud, just let me know, and I can try and turn down the microphone, or you know, find something to make that a bit more bearable. So there we go. All right, but I think right now every Battletech fan is they want to try and make a story for Shrapnel, and in my opinion, do it. You know, you make whatever story you got, find someone as a friend or a couple of friends who will help you edit it. You know, use Sarna to make sure it's as in canon as possible, and then submit that baby. That seems to be the most successful ticket for getting into Shrapnel, is making sure the editor doesn't have to work. That said, you know, you should definitely pay your friends if you're going to use them as editors. No one should ever do free work, even if they are your friends. And then, you know, get that story in there. You know, add to the universe. Make more voices. Yeah, a little white spot. Actually, I think that spot was pink, but oh well. Yeah. Getting some blue and pink everywhere, and on the one hand, I want to go back and fix it. On the other hand, why not make it look like this mech was painted by someone who did not know paint? I mean, that's most trans people anyways, right? I am trans. I can make that joke. It's funny and you know it. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's funny. I remember back when Black Library did submissions, open submissions. There were always me and a couple of people. We'd always get together and try to help edit each other's works. Sadly, I'm not in touch with any of them anymore. One left the online scene and then just never replied back, and the last one where I tried talking to them just never responded, which is fair. But no, it's still really great. That is valid and fair. I can't even imagine what goes into writing campaigns. I tried, and it just always seemed like I did a miserable job. So, you know, if you can do it, more power to you. And I definitely understand how stressful it is. And also, congratulations on the wedding. Weddings are fun and exciting, but you'll never find me at one, because when I was 7, I went to one, and it was my aunt's. And I remember having a great time until I was finally tired and I wanted to sit down, but it was after the wedding itself and everyone was dancing. And one of my other aunts wanted to dance with me, and I kept trying to say no, but she wouldn't let go. And then I finally got free, tripped, fell, and slammed my head into a brick bar. And that was finally it for me. Weddings are fun and exciting. You'll just never find me near one because all I can think is I am clumsy around other people. There we go. That blue is going on great. Yeah, I just feel like tabletop RPGs are extra stressful because they're kind of like, you know, kind of writing a mission supplement for any kind of thing in general. And it's like, oh, you have to kind of, on the one hand, you can't shoehorn the players into making one decision over another. Yeah, it was painful. I have a large history of head trauma. Most of it happened before I was like 12. And funnily enough, I can say none of it was from me doing something stupid. It was just stuff happened to me. But yeah, it's just kind of like you have to guess what choices other people might make, and you have to anticipate it in a way in presenting options that you hope will be fun for them. And for me, personally, that's stressful because I can never get past the, okay, but this is what I would choose. This is how I would try to go through the story. Which is ironic because a lot of the times I'm someone who can pick up on what people are feeling and why they'd be feeling that way. But I can never put myself in their shoes fully like that. Yeah, yeah, it is. But you still gotta do it in a way that's fun and makes them feel like they made the choice. Unfortunately, I am not capable of doing that, and I admire the people who are. By the way, oh, by the way, you're doing the Atlantean spears, right, Zerth? How are those coming along? Sorry, I just remembered that. Deterministic, like you're good at making choices. Is that what that means? Yeah, I've I'm one of those weird people. I don't like making choices, but usually once I've made one, I stick with it until it's dead. Stalled a little bit with the testing. All right, that's fair. I can't remember the paint you were using, but I remember it was pretty blue green. You're skeptical about free will. Yeah, I can understand that. Uh, I mean, I feel like it's there and that people make the choices, but I don't think they always get to choose the choices that are presented to them. In fact, I think a lot of the times nobody gets to choose the choices they have to pick from. It's the cards you're dealt. Sometimes those cards just suck. speaking as someone who can't ever seem to escape life. Yeah, I kind of want to make a shrapnel story, but it's been a very long time since I wrote. And while I remember one of my writing strengths was I'm very good at making sympathetic characters, I kind of have troubles with writing length and keeping the story as something that's engaging without, going into, oh, this is the character, this is why you should resonate with them, yada yada. Which, those are great when you're writing a little NPC blurb. They're not so great when you're trying to write the main character of a short story or novella. Oh, I never noticed a little vent before. Oh well. We're painting and we're painting and we are painting. Alrighty. I think I'm going to try and finish this up and then refill my water cup. Because I'm thirsty and I didn't realize it was empty. Ooh, I got too much paint on there that time. Be careful with that. Then I think we will go for the guns. Wanted to paint the legs blue, but I kind of like them where they're white, so I'm not sure. Any opinions or preferences? Now, is there something? Oh, crap. That's what I was afraid of. Is there a color the legs you think should be that will contrast with everything? Probably paint them dark gray. Help cover up some of that paint that's been on them. Well, I mean, I paint the barrel, paint the gun barrel, it's going to cover up that blue, but at the same time, I can't see where the gun barrel is anymore. Alright, let's see. Try and fill up some of these white spots. Then finish this blue. There we go. That's nicer. Yes, yes it is. Thank you. I feel like at this point it's a meme that everyone should paint their king crabs in trans colors. It's a meme I fully support. Just seems like enough people have done it that it should just be, everyone should have a trans crab. Paint a little bit more in there. There we go. There we go. There we go. Alright. that blue went in a little thin. But if we need to, we can go back over it. Alright. Okay. Ooh. Dawn Guard just sounds cool. Alright, so let's see. Oh, I realized the music died. Yes, Lance Commander can always get a custom paint job. Alright, so I am going to go on bio break so I can get some water to drink. You know, everyone feel free to do the same. I should be back in about 5 or 10 minutes. In the meantime, please enjoy looking at this very out of focus king crab. Alrighty. Okay, and we're back, and ooh, there's a link. Let's see. Oh wow, that's who the Dawn Guards are? Generally use a white and golden yellow scheme. The yellow is painted diagonally across the mech from the top of the right shoulder to the bottom of the left leg, and the white covers the lower half of the mech. While this is the standard scheme, the regiment has also been known to paint its units in primer gray, olive drab, or other colors appropriate to the deployed environment. Oh wow, that looks like an awesome paint scheme. Let's see, I'm just going to look them up on Sarna to see who they are real fast. Dawn Guards. Mecha Assault Regiment with an aerospace wing manned by Republic volunteers with ancestral ties to the Federated Suns. Are these in the shrapnel? Let's see, they're from Shattered Fortress. Alright. I want to say there was a shrapnel story about a Federated Sun unit that decided to become mercenary. I think they started in just after the FedCom Civil War, I want to say. Yeah, Dawn Guard actually sounds pretty cool. Oops, accidentally bumped into my desk there. Alright, so we got some white here. Let's go ahead and fill that in. Trying to even out this blue. There we go. And alright, well, now that it's dried, I can see where the gun barrel is supposed to be, so that should be good for that. I was worried this one would come on a little thin, and it did. It's okay, we can fix that. No such thing as a mistake. Any mistake is just a bird. Although we're not painting birds on this mech. There we go. There we go. Alright. There we go. Oh, wow. So thick going on the brush, but it did not come out thick. Alright. So that's the arms. I think for the legs, I don't know what I want to do with the legs. I know there was the idea of painting them blue to match the arms. Now I'm thinking something a little bit darker to provide contrast. Let me sit on that for a little bit. I try and I need paper towel so I can clean my brush, and then we're going to try and fix some of the white where some of the pink got in. I think I want to add some gray on these little sub panels. And then we also have our, where did I put that steel? Iron hand steel. And we're going to paint our gunmetals and vents. But let me grab a paper towel. I'll be right back. I'm back. Sorry that took a few seconds it did. Alright, so let's see. We want to paint white, and that means we don't want any colors mixing with it. Oh. Not doing a good job coming off this one at a moment, so I think we will just go with the smaller brush we have not used yet. So let's first, we want to fix that little pink spot up top. Now, the Apothecary White does go on a bit gray, I've noticed. I don't know. Exactly why that is. Might be just mine's very old because I bought a lot of my paint a long time ago, but then just never used it, and now I'm trying to. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that actually came out a little bit better than I was expecting. Got some paint on my hands, so I'm going to wipe that off. There we go. Alright, so let's see. These STC brushes really like to absorb color. It just kind of got a little bit blue just from being in that water. Alright, so let's see. Gotta get here. There. This little spot on top of the knee. At least until I decide what color to paint it. Oh yeah, it's going on nice. Very nice. And just so I can better see where that gun barrel is. There we go. There we go. Wow, that is about the best time I've ever had that Corax White ever go on. Normally it just wants to fight me on everything. That came on pretty decent. I'm going to go ahead and go back with a little bit of blue for this one little spot I saw. There we go. And for someone whose eyes were not made to see small details, I don't think I'm doing too bad. All right. Okay. Enough going back for tiny little colors. It's time for the gunmetal. You can tell it's exciting because it has the word gun. Alright, so let's see. For metal, we want to do the injection ports here, the 3 gun barrels, then these vents on the back. What just happened there? Oh, no, that's just... okay. It's a little weird thing. Alright, so... because they're so small, I'm going to have to use this smaller brush. This nice iron hand steel, good shake. I have never used this before. I got it 3 months ago, I think. Never even opened it before. There we go. That wasn't so scary. Put some here on my palette. A little bit more. There we go. Oh, wow. That is thin for metal paint. Kind of looks like I'm looking at silver mercury. Don't know if that's good or bad, but we're about to find out. Dun, 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 dun. Here, so you can hopefully see the detail. Sorry, camera's okay for looking at people, not so much for these small details. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a proper zoom or autofocus. Should be enough for that one. Move on to ejection port. And I've really got a lot on this brush just for that little. Oh, that's metal. It's no longer white. All right. Woo-wee. For this, the only metal paint experience I've ever had was my one and only Chaos Space Marine who has painted a Night Lord. And that's because they have bronze trim. That was 2012. So yeah, until the couple of other Battletech minis I painted, it's been 10 years since I painted anything, and it was only one model. Alright, I think I got a little bit extra metal there on the vent, but you know what? We can call that carbon scoring. Try to get there. Can't tell if it's just shiny or if like it's thin. Now, I'm going to hope on shiny. Sorry, I know I moved away from the camera. I'm just trying to paint comfortably with my arms, and I'm not used to trying to, the idea of trying to paint for an audience to see it. That concept in general. Both concepts are new to me, but one's newer than the other. Meanwhile, I still got... Oh, nope, I think it's finally running out. Sorta. Still got metal paint for days on this brush. Holy cow. We wanted to get back in there. there. There we go. There we go. Yeah, let's go ahead and, because these are not part of the cockpit, they're kind of like, I assume they're heat vents for the cockpit. Just these little two on the end. Oh, even if they're not, they are now. Haha. Can always do another coat after it dries. Yes, that is very true. And I just realized I put one of my elbows on what I'm now using as a paper towel that's covered in wet paint. So, good luck for me there. Sorry, just gotta take another sip of water real fast. There we go. Alright. Now to paint these gun barrels. Without painting over blue. Or at least trying my darndest not to. See, it's kind of bad because, like, okay, I don't know if you can see it. This gun barrel has, like, this little piece in, and it's not actually supposed to be part of the mech. It's just something they do for, Silver Elbow is a great fantasy game, certainly. Great fantasy name or a great rock band name, especially if you do kind of cyberpunk theme songs like Janelle Monáe, but you know, more rock and roll. What was I saying? Yeah, so this mech has some pieces in there that I guess were easier on the molds. So it has like a little piece here that you can see and a little piece there. They're not actually supposed to, like, if you looked at any art of the king crab, you would not see those pieces there. Because they're not supposed to exist. I assume they're part of the mold, so like, oh, this arm could be open and you could have this freehanging gun barrel. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I definitely understand why you would do that. I'm definitely not going to go in and try and cut it out. I thought... Seems like it's a very bright silver. I'm hoping when it dries, that's not the case. Because there are some spots I can't tell it's gone on until I look at it from a different angle and suddenly I see shiny reflection. There we go. Let's see. One more gun barrel coming up. This one is a little bit trickier because the claw is more closed, so I'm trying not to cover up the blue. Oh well. Call that little bit there carbon scoring because you have a claw that opens and closes over a gun that shoots bullets bigger than my car. Or at least as big as my car. That surprised me if they're bigger than my car. Now the part I was worried about is where I accidentally put too much blue and can't tell where the gun barrel is exactly. Oh no, that's a bad angle. I have no light there. Just gonna have to guess. Hope this works out. Alright, that doesn't look too bad. Gotta get back in this barrel. Put in a little spot there to cover up the white that's facing out. There we go. There we go. Alright. Well, I was expecting a bit of a darker metal, to be honest. Let me go back over there with some pink. But yeah. Alright. Oh. I was thinking maybe we could do the legs in gray. Then we can do our washes, call it a day. Alright, so let's see. Oh, sorry. I did a little burp there. Alright, so let's see. I wanted to do, to provide depth, a little gray and these sub panels, which I'm just realizing also have vents. Oops. There we go. And there we go. Not bad for something I just spontaneously thought of, although I do realize I got some gray everywhere. Oops. Alright, so we will cover up that bird with some white. Gotta say, this is the most well-behaved I've ever had Corax white be for me, but I am not about to complain. Oh, come on. You can do it. Cover that up. There we go. Let's add a bit of light to that. Get it not quite so dark. There we go. Alright. realize I do not have my yellow with me. Oh well. Reason that's an oh well is because I was planning on using the yellow for the cockpits, but I can just change that up at a little later date. All right. Oh, right. I wanted to paint the legs a dark gray. Let's see. I think I have, yeah, Mechanicus Standard Gray. Let's see. What happened to my Nuln oil? There you are. All right. Move all that stuff to the side. Put our washes here. And, oh, right. I still haven't used the Mechanicus Gray yet, which I wanted to. Alright, so let's see. Whoop. Just get a nice big glob of you to put on our palette. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's very nice. Put some more water on that brush. There we go. Yeah, that's thinning it down real nice. Nice and gentle like. Alright. Now I gotta be careful because as part of the mold, this leg and arm are actually joined. But I want to get in there and cover everything up. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's nice and pretty. And we gotta get this top of the knee without getting the bottom of the arm. There we go. Went in a little thin, but we can go back over that. Go ahead and get all that back of the knee. Calling this the knee, and I'm realizing it's actually the hip. Oh well. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I like how that's contrasting. Dun, dun, dun. Go. It's not going to leave much room for the detail on the legs, I think, but should be alright. Okay, well, have a nice dinner, Earth. Thank you for joining me. I really did enjoy all the talking. Let's see the fronts here. I get into this grill. Did that accidentally go anywhere? Yeah, sure. Hopefully next time is either later this week or next week. Hopefully it won't be, 2 weeks later like it was last time. Although I'm already doing better than when it was several years later. But yeah, have a good night. Sorry, I just saw a bright light in the corner of my eye and got distracted. Alright, I think I'm going to have to trust whatever I use for a wash to get in between that knee and the elbow. Curses of it being one piece. There we go. And use all the paint that's on the brush. Let me just dip back into the pot a little bit. Oh wow, I've already been at this for 2 hours. I didn't realize that. I think in that case I might finish up these legs, and then next stream we can finish up with the washes, and I will have remembered my yellow so we can do the cockpit. Or at least try and finish this one leg. I don't like how that went on, but it's at the bottom where nobody's going to see it. Oh, this batch went on really thin. Go ahead and put this on there, and then we can come back. Come on. I think I accidentally used too much water this time. Oh well. Yeah, definitely used too much water. Ah. Shouldn't be doing that. Alright. Time to dry. Meanwhile, I'll move on to the next leg. Ooh. Ah. Oh. Oh. Careful, careful, careful. There we go. There we go. Over there. Over there. Yeah, accidentally put too much water into this batch. Oh well. On the one hand, if I can keep it from fanning down too much, it might not be too bad for a first layer. Let me get some more paint from the pot to help thicken this up. Alright, that should be good. Yeah, there we go. Ooh. The bad part about going thin is it doesn't want to get into all those nice little cracks, which leave them as whatever the primer is. Which if I had used a black primer, it would not be that bad because then they'd be darker and I probably wouldn't have to wash. But I also wouldn't be able to see it going on unless it was a ridiculously bright color, which doesn't do too well with a black primer. Because brighter colors usually go on thin, which then means you have to do several layers. Alright, so here we go. There we go. Nice. I don't know about smooth, but at least you're going on. paint. As much water. There we go. That should be all right. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now you're going on like you're supposed to. And go back under there. Oh, no. Still thin, but, you know, thick enough to complement the gray. Alright. Just gonna have to trust the wash to cover up some of that. Let's see. Oh, wow. Really went in thin on this side, didn't it? I don't know if you can see it from the camera angle, but youch. Definitely know I'm not trying to get it that thin, but oh well. Just gonna have to do a couple of layers. Couple of layers and trust the wash. I think what I might want to do, I do the wash, is go with Gnome oil all over all the model. But then do the colored washes I was planning for those bits. Use the Gnome oil to try and fill in the lines and stuff. But that's going to be next stream. Get a little bit more paint from the pot. Right now I'm using Mechanicus Standard Gray, which is a Citadel base paint. You can use it either as a primer, or the ideal method is to primer the model and then use this for the first quote-unquote layer. Back in there. Cover that up. keep me from dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I kind of ran out of things to talk about. But if someone has something they want to talk about, please feel free. This is as much for you as it is for me. Okay, so all we gotta do is finish up the inside of this leg. And maybe, just maybe, yes. Oh, wait. There we go. Apologies for any obvious things that are escaping my attention. I am still new and trying to catch them as I see them. But all right. I think that's it. All right. So obviously we still need to do some washes. I got Drakenhof Nightshade for the blue, Apothecary White for the white, and it's not Voluptuous Pink, it's Volupus Pink or something like that. It's that pink, or that pink. It's like Volupus Pink. That's going to be for, you know, the pink. The pink and Apothecary White are contrast paints, so I trust them to go in and get all the little white spots that you're still seeing in places. The Drakenhof Nightshade is just a wash, but, you know, should still do a pretty good job of coloring everything down. And then I want to use Nuln Oil for the guns, missiles, and vents and legs. And that should wrap up the model. And then I want to do some yellow for the cockpits. But yeah. So that's where we're going to be ending today, and we're going to be coming back hopefully soon. I don't have a specific date planned yet, but, you know, I hope everyone will join me then, and in the meantime, I hope you all have a good night.